Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our ninth episode of Bikinis After Babies. I am so happy about this episode today. I am your host, Mandy Rochon, here with your other amazing host.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is Gillian Hughes. I want to apologize first that I sound terrible. I am on the tail end of this cold. I don't even want to call it a cold, but I've been under the weather for like about 2 weeks and
There's been so many people that are sick.
it's just terrible. If I'm sitting in my office and I don't speak for a little while and then I pick up the phone, I'm like, hello. And I just sound like an old crabby witch. So it's
Like
still
a
lingering.
smoker.
Yeah, it sounds terrible. And like people are like, who's this guy? But anyways, that is why I sound nasally, and I hope I don't cough in this podcast. It's like more at night anyways. But we're excited to bring today's episode to you. So we've had a couple weeks of guests and we've lined up a bunch more, which we're really excited about. But we thought this week it would be fun to take a break and catch everybody up on what we've been up to. And then we're going to talk about a topic that we get a lot of questions about, which is plastic surgery. And so we're going to talk about that. Just two girls talking about boobs, and it's going to be enlightening and just share our experiences and some advice. But to kind of get started, I think it would be great to update everybody on how our preps are going. And so, Mandy, you're further along in your prep journey for 24 than me. So why don't you share with our listeners how things are going on your journey?
Yeah, I am actually just under 10 weeks out. So I technically am just under the 2-digit mark, which is really fun, right? It's crazy when you get that close. And but no, I am excited for it. I feel so ready, so good. This whole prep, my whole focus has just been staying consistent. If it's working, keep doing it. So keep sleeping how you're sleeping, keep, following the nutrition plan, staying diligent on my nutrition, staying really keen on my weightlifting, my focus, my intensity, really prioritizing things that I struggle with, which I think a lot of girls struggle with this, and it's prioritizing posing and stretching and
Yes.
knowing that if you're gonna lift heavy at the gym, especially legs, we need to foam roll, we need to stretch, our hips, our muscles, it's just gonna hurt. We're just gonna be so sore and so tight, and especially as we get older, we're so much more susceptible to injuries, right? So just making time for that, even if it's 20 minutes a day, I just lay on my floor, watch Netflix, and just foam roll, right? So making sure I do more of that so that way I can pose, feel good, push my intensity. I will say with this prep, which, I knew we were going to kind of do an update episode, so I was really thinking about it, and I'm this prep, I'm so calm. I'm just so chill. And not because I know, of course, I know the importance of being calm and not having high stress levels. But, it made me think about back in 2016, my first 2 shows I did. I was a nervous wreck. I feel like no matter what you say, your first shows, you're just a nervous hot mess. You have right? You have no idea what to expect. You have no idea what you're going to look like. You always feel like you're not ready enough, or ready in time. But, those first 2 shows, those were my first shows. So I was deer in headlights. And then fast forward to 2018. Okay, I knew a little bit more, but I was still I was kind of coming off a more of a weight loss transformation at that point, gaining, quite a bit of weight after my first shows. So I was just more enjoying the process, but still nervous, still didn't know, it's just still getting used to everything. And then coming into 2022 for those shows, I felt so educated now, listening, reading, learning, communicating with people. So now taking away from those shows, I learned, need more muscle tissue. I need more, an off season. I need to focus on my hormones. So now going into this show or this season, I'm I feel good. I feel good. Of course I'm still nervous, but I feel really good.
That's awesome. Do you think taking the break that you did contributed to just that feeling of feeling more ready and feeling like you've had the time?
Absolutely. I do feel like it did, because I will tell you, as soon as I walked off stage in May of 2022, I just knew, I knew that compared to others that I needed more lean muscle tissue in my shoulders. My shoulders needed to be more developed. My glutes needed to be more developed. I knew these things, and I knew it was going to take time. And of course, there's always drugs out there. There's, PEDs that can speed up the process along the way. And that, I didn't even foresee that really happening for me, needing to do that just because I was going to take time. So, and then I got injured. So, herniating my disc, I
Hmm.
took even more time. So, I feel like doing that definitely gave me peace.
Yeah.
And I was able to, like, I was so much more educated. Like, I knew I needed to eat lean protein and hit protein goals and vegetables and hydration and, lift heavier.
Yeah.
So just those like little, like you call them nuggets,
The
you know,
nuggets.
nuggets.
Yeah.
I just continued that.
Yeah.
And so absolutely. But
Awesome.
now I know how far out are you from a show?
So I am officially 19 and a half weeks
It's so
out.
exciting.
It's so crazy. Like I stepped off stage in March of 2023, knowing that I needed a break. I had to just work on just a better routine for myself. I had kind of done like almost 3 years of competing or prepping with really short breaks. Like I didn't really take very long off season between um, 2021 and 2022. I think that was probably the thing that really set me back was just having putting myself through like six high level shows 2 years consecutively without much of a break. And then like with my lifestyle too, like I'm a mother of five, two biological kids, three step kids. We run fast and hard in this house. Like everybody's in something. We're very involved in sports. One of my kids is on an elite travel team. We travel a lot. So I also run a business. And so like I like factoring all that in, I was like, oh, okay, I'm sure I'll be fine. I think my superwoman juice just ran out, and so I ended up with
Mm-hmm.
like some gut issues, and just like I was just very stressed, and I still love the sport, but I knew like probably about 3 4 weeks out I wasn't going to be bringing my best, but I was like I still owe it to myself and to my family to see this through, knowing full and well that I was not going to continue on with nationals last summer, so took a break, and I've been building and coming back in June of this year for, I hate calling them warm up shows because for some people
Yeah.
it's their only show. And I don't want to be like, oh, I'm just like
Mhm.
doing the shows of warm up.
I know, like, if I, through the show I'm doing on March 30th, if, of course I want to win, like, I always look at it like this. Like, of course you go in, like, wanting to win your show, right? You want to win the whole thing. I've always been okay with, like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to bring my best, try my best, work my best. And if there's girls that show up and they're better than me, they're better than me. And then they deserve to win. And it's really like that. Take my feedback and keep going, right?
Yeah.
So if I do well at that show, I want to do junior nats and I'd love to be backstage with you at Universe.
I know. Well, I think it's like there's so much value in doing more than one show in a season because think about all the variables that have to come together to create that like perfect package,
Mhm.
with everything just kind of aligning all on one day. It's really tough to do that in one show. And so once
Mhm.
you've kind of gotten like your first season out of the way to see if you like it, to see how you do, you get some feedback. Then I think it's important to like have a bit more of a strategy of what you want to do. If your goal is to get a pro card, then it's really important that you dip your toe in the water in a few different areas. Like if you only stay in rural Iowa and do shows in rural Iowa, you really don't know how you're going to do at nationals where it's everyone in the country, right? So it's a good
Yeah.
idea to just try your look and your routine and everything somewhere else and budget for that so that it can happen and then get feedback from judges that you could potentially see at nationals. So I do typically try to do that first show of the season at a show where I know I'm going to see Sandy or Tyler so
Mhm.
that I can ask them directly, hey, you're the people that give away pro cards. What do I need to work on? And I take their
Yeah.
feedback, and it can be small things like, you look a little bored, or your routine needed a little bit more pizzazz, or like big stuff like, if you need to develop your shoulders, you need to really bring in your hamstrings. And so if you get that kind of advice and feedback, I'm not saying like you should hang it up for the year, but don't expect to come back in 3 weeks and have grown your shoulders or your hamstrings. Like that is going to take a little bit more time, but you're kind of looking for those little like nuggets again of things that you can correct, like, you know, not pushing so hard on your back pose, or maybe your hair is too long, like your hair extensions are touching your butt and we can't see your waist. Like what an easy fix that is. Or just like, okay, yeah, I was freaking nervous, so next time I come out on the stage, I'm going to rock it, I'm going to own it. You can even come in a little more conditioned, a little drier, a little fuller. Like those are little tiny things that make a huge difference. So those are the things that you want to be able to correct from like show 1 to show 2 to show 3. So I think that is just like the strategy that I've taken for the last couple years. So,
well, and if you enjoy it, I always think that too, because especially like working backstage like I do, I meet a lot of athletes that will say they're like, this is my 4th show, this is my 5th show this year, and it will be in a small time frame, and it's so interesting because, so not that long ago, we were like, you're only supposed to do, your body can only handle 1 or 2 shows. But, of course, over time, we've learned that that's really not the case. And like you said, everybody's body's different depending your feedback. But if you enjoy doing that, if you enjoy going on stage and you have so much fun and you love meeting the people and it's just a great day, like you said, budget for it and enjoy the feedback, enjoy the stage, just keep doing it. Try new poses, try new colors, try a new hairstyle, And
exactly.
if the judges, yeah. And if the judges say like, oh, I don't like that hairstyle, I like this, well, that for next time. Like you'll always and forever take something away from the stage. Always.
Yeah, totally. And that's just what you sort of like buy into when you start this sport. Like nobody really knows what you're up to at the gym and what your diet looks like. Like it all comes together on that show day, and there's a lot riding on that one show. And so it is good to have, a couple lined up to make the most out of that physique, but also just like the fun of it is like really trying to tick all the boxes to work your way up to that first place spot and that pro card spot. So, you have to get that feedback and you can't take it personal. I think Amber really did a good job of kind of explaining how to separate the emotion from that feedback, because they see like thousands of bodies a weekend at these huge shows. Like it's not that they don't like you, it's just you have to grab their eye. And so having a coach that will help you make sure that you do all the right things and you don't show up on stage with like an orange suit and like, the wrong shoes or, just something that is not, like, those are important details. That's a huge piece of your scoring. So, I think that's, a part of it. But, if you have to go to the judges table and they're like, yeah, hey, not feeling the suit, or it doesn't fit you properly, or, learn how to walk better in your heels. Like those are things that you can quickly change and then work with what you've got. So anyway, that was a bit of a tangent, but we're in prep together this year, which is really fun to, be on this journey together. It's been so motivating too. Like I was telling my husband this the other day, like doing the podcast and, sharing with other people and even just like meeting new people through the YouTube and through the Instagram, like it's been so motivating. And I'm just like really excited for the season to start up again with like the Arnold, I think is like in 7 weeks or something. It's really soon.
It is really close because it's my birthday weekend. Yeah. It's always my birthday weekend. Yeah. But
so I'm excited to see our girl, Angelica,
I know.
fit mama of 2. She's going to crush it. And then hopefully we will see her on our show. Stay tuned.
That is our dream.
Yes. So anyways, but today's topic, this is something that is brought up a lot in our competition team. Mandy and I are both coaches with Momshell Method Fitness, and we coach moms who want to get in bikini shape for the beach, bikini shape for the stage, bikini shape for the pool, whatever it might be. So
that's right around the corner too.
That's right. So we do commonly get questions about plastic surgery, and we thought it would be good to cover that topic today and, speak on our experiences as well as answer some questions that we've gotten from our followings and from our clients. So I think we can both agree we're going to start on boobs because that's
Right.
probably like the thing that it's the only thing I can really comment on plastic surgery.
Hmm.
But I think one of the questions that we get a lot is, do you need breast implants to be successful in bikini competitions?
And of
So,
course, the answer is no. No, you
no,
don't.
you do not.
No.
You do not.
No, when you are on that stage, the judges when they're judging you, they are judging on the criterias that is in your category, which of course npcnewsonline.com will tell you what they are
Hmm.
judging for.
We'll link
They're
it
going to
below.
be looking, yeah, yeah, we'll put the link below. They're going to be looking just whatever your category is. Now, if you have boobs already and they're really, really big, they might be throwing things off. So breast implants, depending on the size of them, can actually hurt you.
Hmm.
And you have to remember if your breasts are so large, you're going to have to want to pose a certain way and stand a certain way. If you don't have breasts, it's really not going to count against you at all. Now, you don't need pec muscles, of course. They don't want to see pec muscles. You want to be able to pose wherever is going to, look very hourglass, of course, which is what
Hmm.
they're looking for in the bikini division this year and moving forward, hopefully. But you do not need them. And I
No.
know, yeah, I know you can second that.
You could second that. I'm going to comment on what you just said, which I totally forgot about this. But you had said that if your breast implants are too large, it can work against you. And it did. So 2018, I went
Oh,
to North Americans and I placed just inside the top 10, which is ninth for anybody who's curious. I placed top 10. Never means sixth place. It always means you were ninth
yeah.
or 10th. So, anyways, I was ninth, and one of the judges said I needed to grow into my boobs.
Ooh.
So, and I agree. I mean, I had lost so much size on my lower body from that prep and from dieting, and I definitely didn't have the muscle that I have now. So, it can work against you. I will say that when I got my breast implants, I did not think about competing when I got them. I was 35 pounds heavier than I compete on stage. They fit my body at that time. And then when I dieted down, I didn't have breast tissue to lose. So I just got stuck with these big, giant boobs and a much leaner, smaller lower body. I have since like put on muscle and grown my lower body to match a little bit more. I still feel like I'm a little top heavy, but so it can be, I don't want to say negative, but it's a consideration of symmetry. So,
It is.
but like you don't get them for competing. Like because you compete one
Never.
day or 2 days or maybe 5 days a year, you have another 360 days in your body. Like that's when you're gonna really, you know, enjoy and have that physique. So, when it
Yeah.
comes to having surgery, I think that you shouldn't be going in for your pre-op or for your consultation when you're like stage lean. Like that's like
Or right after.
yeah, like that'd be like going and buying a whole new wardrobe when you're like 2 days out and then expecting to fit into all of that like 4 months later. It's just a different body. So I definitely recommend like, getting yourself like into a restored spot with your body fat and to where you're like maintaining your physique without like tons of cardio and kind of in a good
Hmm.
maintenance phase before you go ahead and get sized and see where you're at. And like take photos of pros or if you're not competing like someone whose boobs you like. That should be your deciding factor, not like a cup size or like, oh, this person has 500 cc's, this person has 350. Like it's so different
Yeah, I
for each
remember
person.
that. Yeah.
So photos for sure of how you want
Yeah.
how you want the side to look, how you want the cleavage to look, how much you want them to project. Like all that's a pretty important factor. They don't
Hmm.
just stick a balloon in there. Um, they are looking at, the circumference and the width of the implant, the projection, all of that. So
Hmm.
yeah, so all of that's really important. So, I mean, but you can make yourself look like you've got. I'll link this video below, but it's a great video. I think it's Lauren Conlon, and it's an older video, but this is before she had her breast augmentation. And you essentially take a nylon stocking and you put dry rice in it, and then tie it, and you put it inside of the cup of your top, and it will make like we call them like rice boobs. Um, So it really does work, but the trick is that you've got to have a top that's big enough. So like when you're buying your bikini, and if you work with Toxic Angels, like they're amazing. They know exactly how to fit you. They're not going to, if you're like a 34A, they're not going to give you like an extra small triangle top. Like they will give you a larger top that you can fill out to match your bottom. And you can
Yeah.
just put that rice boob like right inside the pocket, and then you can like manipulate it so that it lays in a nice way. And it's not just like this like fluffy pillow stuffing that we always used to use. Like
Hmm.
the pillow stuffing is just so not moldable. It makes it really hard for your suit to like lay down flat on your chest and like look like normal.
I
But
never
the
thought of
rice
that.
boobs are like they're great. Like, and I have like been working shows and had to check
We're
suits.
gonna get like hashtag rice boobs or thanks for the rice boobs. Like we're gonna get messages about the
Yes.
rice
Oh my God.
boobs.
Comment down below if you're team rice boobs, because this video, like, it was a game changer. And I've never seen anyone else do this.
I've never
Like,
heard of it.
well, I don't know where I even came across it, but I mean, the video's got to be like 5, 6 years old. And I've done it for my clients ever since. We've just been making rice boobs. And I've met people backstage that have rice boobs. So,
See, maybe it's a thing and I just don't know. So like for me it was so different. Like my breast implants was completely different because I like hit puberty 13, 14 and I had D's. Like I was just one of those blessed people. And then I had my son at 20 and they just got bigger, right? Well, then after giving birth, kept the boobs. Like I had the normal mom saggy boobs, whatever, right? Well, then as soon as I touched a weight, like they went from D's to B's like that. I didn't even believe Victoria's Secrets and they measured me and they're like, it's a B, you're a B. And I'm like, I've never been a B in my entire life.
yeah.
So I of course like lost all that through like my own personal journey. And then when I went to my first comp prep, I had flat little pancakey skin. Like it was just so terrible. And I knew, like I always knew I was going to get breast implants. Like it was never anything to do with the stage. The stage just made me like, oh, I lost weight. Like I need to get boobs. So like I competed in fall of 2016. I in 2017, I think it was in the spring or summer of 2017, I had my breast implants.
Hmm.
I will say I was really lucky here in the Kansas City area because he's retired, but there was a doctor here that a lot of girls that had already been competing. I actually think one or two of them were pros. They went to him. Like they always recommended him. He had worked on other girls that he knew, like the competition world.
Hmm.
So like to him, he knew like this is what you should do if you're going to do this, that, measurements, up, down. And then so after I had my breast implants, of course, when you get breast implants, they're so high up on your collarbone, right? They're like up there.
Yeah.
So I purposely like let them down. Like I didn't keep them wrapped because I wanted a natural like sag to my boobs. I wanted it to be like, okay, are those real or are they fake? Like
Yeah.
are you not sure? But they're still there, right? And so now kind of like I think you and I were talking about this the other day, or I was talking to
Yeah.
another girl about it, about how now I have like a weird opposite problem where I will get lean for a stage and my boobs will slightly shrink, like maybe 20 weeks, 15 weeks, but then they're done. They don't
Yeah.
shrink. The fat wants to hang out there.
Yeah.
So I'll get, you know, lean all around and muscles popping all around, but my boobs will just be like nice and fatty right there. So I have to mess with tops and stuff like that for that.
So
But
do you then
like,
do you gain weight in your boobs then if you in your off season, or do they pretty much stay the same? Do you?
so that's what's weird is like the way that my body is in my off season, they just look so natural. Like they don't look fake. They look just very natural. When I start working out and lose probably like the first 10-ish pounds,
Hmm.
it's kind of like, oh, are those real? Are those fake? And then now, like, now they're fake, of course, like where I'm at now. But it's like, it's interesting because I'll have so many. I've had guys come up to. I've literally had a guy come up to me at the gym and be like, "Listen, I'm not a creeper. I don't want to bother you. I'm so sorry. My wife," and he said that. He's like, "My wife really wants to get boobs." And I don't mean to be offensive. He like went a whole spiel. And I'm like, it's okay. Just ask me. Just ask whatever you're trying to ask. But I am an open book about my boobs because I've gotten so, and I'm sure you have too. Like
Oh
you
yeah.
get messages about them all the time, and they're never mean. They're never anything. It's just kind of like, hey, like I'm thinking about getting breast implants. Blah. Okay, you'll
Most
get
of the
mean
time,
comments. That's
okay,
not what I meant.
most of the
I
time,
meant like,
okay, like 9 out of 10 times, it's a girl, and she's like, "I'm so sorry.
yes,
Like, if this is too much to ask, just ignore me. I want to know." Like they like my look, and they want to have similar look to their implants. 9 out of 10. 1 out of 10 is like,
okay, yes.
you are plastic. Your whole body's plastic. Everything about you is plastic. I'm like, I just have fake boobs, like, and fake eyelashes and fake nails.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all
And
me too.
also,
I'm
like,
like, I had to think.
everybody, like, not everybody has fake boobs, but like it's like the most common plastic surgery.
Oh
And
my
you don't
gosh.
know me. You don't know like my story, why I have fake boobs. Like, if you think about it, it's a really offensive statement. Like, there are women that have had a complete mastectomy and have to get
Yep.
breast augmentation because don't have to, but they choose to get breast augmentation. So to say that to anybody is like, it's shitty. I mean, but everybody's got an opinion, right? But yeah, I do. I definitely, I get some comments, which I find they're like
Yeah.
just really entertaining, because generally it's the purpose to make a comment like this to make me look stupid. And honestly, people are come to my defense and they're like, you're such a jerk. Leave Jillian alone."
Right. I know.
So, but yeah,
If
but
you
if you
take,
can't ask another woman, like, you should, like, it's okay. Like, and people are not offended
always.
if you ask them. Like, and if somebody doesn't have fake boobs and you say, "You have a really nice chest, like, who did your surgery?" And they don't, they're probably going to be
They'll love
flattered
it.
that you thought they were fake. So I always say, like, ask, people want to share with other people, and if they don't, they'll just ignore your comment. Like, if somebody's commenting about their hormones or a supplement they tried or something that they like, that's what social media is for. You can ask people. Like, I get asked stuff all the time, like where I buy X, Y, and Z, and I love sharing that information because I want to know
Yeah.
the other things from other people, right? So
I know that's kind of why I've been like, even I make, the little YouTube videos on my blog here and there, and they're short and they're short, sweet, they're little things,
I
but
love
that
them.
happens like thanks. But I take like one topic that I like from this podcast or something that somebody's asked me and I'm like, just make like a video about this real fast. And then I'll talk about like my prep. But
Yeah.
it's interesting because I'll have people that message me and they'll like random, like rather it's a client, rather it's like on Facebook, it doesn't matter. And they'll ask me something or they'll say something like, "Hey, if this is working for you, like how long did you take this supplement? What kind of supplement are you taking? Like what are your splits?" Or I actually got one this morning that asked me about like the food that I eat after my workout. It's like, well, why are you eating that food after your workout? It's like, well, this is why,
Mhm.
people like if you're sharing on social media and and then you're curious about something that you're seeing on social media, just they're going to want to help you because that's why they're posting it.
Yeah, totally.
So I
So
think we
finishing
answered
up
the
the
boob
boob
question pretty
topic,
well.
my other question that I get is, if you are going to have a breast augmentation, when should you plan to have your surgery and plan for your
Mm.
recovery? Because you do typically have to take at least 6 weeks off, if not more. And then getting back into the gym after a breast augmentation can be, it's just different. Like, everything feels different. Like, upper body work feels different. Like, I remember like lat pull downs and like pull ups and stuff feeling really strange, even though you don't think that they work your chest. Like, and it just feels really, really weird. So, I'll
I
let
remember
you kind
getting
of.
bowls out of, yeah, so like of course they warn you, they tell you like anything that causes you to lift your arms above like your elbows, like you're lifting anything above shoulders, excuse me, like you'll feel it. It will hurt for the first like week or so. It will be really intense.
Blow drying your
And
hair. I remember
oh,
being like,
oh, oh yeah, I
yeah.
remember I was on the couch and I just like rested and I remember I like lifted to get like a bowl or cup out of the cupboard and of course like you're lifting and I'm like, Aaron.
Yeah.
But then going back to the gym, of course, you can kind of start doing cardio after so long, and like you walk and you can do lower body. But yeah, when you go to do anything upper body, I mean, even a bicep curl, it's still muscle that goes through your pecs. Like when you go to like lift or push or pull, you feel something in here and it's just different. It's
Yeah.
just flat out different. It's weird. It takes a while to get used to. It takes a while to build it up, and it's just odd. Like it may hurt, but over time it goes away though. It just takes time. And you just have to be really patient with that. I yeah.
Yeah, just I think it's important just to go slow, and I think
Mhm.
giving yourself enough time and then easing into things like don't go into like benching. You know, you can like train your chest after you have breast augmentation for sure. Um,
Mhm.
but you just definitely want to take it slow and understand that you might be lifting light weights for a while. But I think I
Yeah.
started doing like after about after a week I felt like I needed to move and just like get the anesthesia through my system. So I remember doing very light cardio with like 7 bras on just to make sure I'd,
Oh yeah.
because you don't want things to be bouncing around everywhere.
So you can
Um
order special bras on Amazon for that to help.
yeah.
Like you can
Yeah.
have a sports bra, but then you can
Compression.
buy another bra to like keep them because
Yeah.
you do why they heal. Like you want to keep them up for I can't remember how long, but you want to keep them up for like X amount of
Yeah,
time
while that
while
like
like everything's
pocket is
healing.
like
Hmm.
healing. And I think it's important to like first of all, make sure that you ask your doctor first. Like my doctor knew that I was
Yeah.
like very into fitness. I had done competitions and I'm like it's going to be really hard for me not to work out for 6 weeks. He's like, "Okay, well, when I give you the green light, you can start walking and then we can talk about some other things." So, after a week I was
Yeah.
able to do like light cardio, which was great because I just felt like I just needed to move. It helped my digestion pick back up and it just helped me to just feel more like myself. And then after about like 2 weeks, I was able to do like lower body work. I think one important consideration is making sure that you don't raise your blood pressure too high. So that's another reason why you're not supposed to like do anything very strenuous because that can impair healing. And, if you're bruising and all that stuff, you really need to give your body enough time to heal. But I think one of the most important things that I didn't consider, which ended up causing me to have a revision, was that I went into a calorie deficit way too quickly after surgery. So in 2016, I had my augmentation and I went into a prep like within 8 weeks after surgery because I didn't really think about it. And so, I cut my calories and I was, I think at that point I was still coaching myself. And what happened was I impaired healing and I ended up with a capsule, a scar tissue developed around one of my breasts. So then the following year I had to have them revised. And then that year I took a lot more time to like get myself in a good spot. So I think when you're thinking about having your surgery, if you have plans to compete, make sure you give yourself enough time to like really heal. Like it's a foreign body. So your body can decide if it wants that to be home there or if it wants to attack it. And that's like essentially like what happened. And I developed scar tissue and it was painful and it looked weird. And it was just, something that I didn't I didn't know about or didn't consider. And it's not that I wasn't given a ton of amazing um, guidance and post-op instructions from my doctor. This is just something I didn't think about. Most competitors, or maybe not their plastic surgeon is not a prep coach that doesn't understand what we put our
Yeah.
bodies through, right? So
Yeah.
so
So
I
many
think
times we're like, no, we're fine.
so I think like you could compete in the same year that you have your surgery, but also
Hmm.
like if they're like fresh out of the oven, like it takes a minute for the buns to like settle down. Like again, they're like way up high when you first get them and sometimes it takes a minute for them to drop into the pocket and look soft and natural. So you might not want to compete so soon after you get your surgery, but just giving yourself enough time, I'd say don't start prepping for at least 6 months. Not that you couldn't be
Yeah.
eating healthy and taking care of yourself and maintaining a really good.
Just being really healthy with your diet. I think that's something that's so easily like thrown out the window very fast. And I don't understand like why we have to throw it out the window so fast. So like if we're going to go have this like major surgery, right? And it's a procedure. We're having this surgery. We're having this thing done to our body. That doesn't mean like, oh, okay, well, since I can't go to the gym, like I'm going to use this time to like have these dinners or have this pizza with my kid or have this or have that because your body's also probably not used to that either, right? Your body is not used to that foreign object in you. It is not used to being that sedentary because now you can't go to the gym, which you probably were going to the gym before. And now you're going to feed it things that it probably hasn't had in a while or it doesn't have a lot of. So just be mindful of what you're putting into your body. And I feel like that helps me personally a lot through prep is being so mindful of the food I choose to eat. Like, why am I choosing to eat this? Like, is it going to help me? Is it going to hurt me? Is it going to irritate me? Is it going to do something? So that's kind of why, just be mindful of it, kind of like you said.
Absolutely.
So,
Okay, cool. I think that we have like really talked about boobs quite a bit. So
I know.
a few
It's
of
a
the
hot
other
topic.
It's a hot topic. Well, I mean, and we're girls, so we want to share advice with women. And, I think just get consults. They're free. Go and talk to as many doctors until you feel like you've made the right choice and you've got the right size. And, and take care of
Yeah.
yourself. So,
And I think another kind of plastic surgery question we get, and this is more, it is plastic surgery. It's not necessarily putting something forward into your body, of course, but it is like something that you see a lot of because in this sport we see a lot of weight loss transformations, right? We see a lot of people, even if you're super heavy and they go through this transformation and they do have a loose, saggy skin. And so there are some people that choose to have oh, the brain fog just hit me. For
that's
those of
okay,
you
girl.
if you are new to the stage and you get close to the stage, you get these things called brain fog where you just
You
totally
just
blank out.
right out. That's what I'm here for. Heaven help us when we're both like competing at the same time. This is going to sound like a really,
Tummy tuck.
oh my gosh.
That was too funny.
So tummy
Oh my
tuck or
gosh.
skin removal or like mommy
Yes.
makeover, body lift, sort of any of those things. And I'll tell you that like I see tummy tuck scars all the time on competitors because, again, like if you're competing after babies, sometimes you lose all the weight, you get in a really good spot, you're, really lean, but that if there's excess skin there that requires removal or it's something that you really want to get rid of, it's a very personal decision. But there's not a lot that you can hide in a tiny competition bikini. I mean, there are like, again, we can make tops that, will help give you some extra cleavage and whatnot, but like the suit's not going to cover up very much. So, I've seen like some great tummy tuck scars and been like, yes, because I mean, anytime I'm ever going to have like, and even if I get a freaking mosquito bite, I'm like, is that going to scar? Am I going to see this in my suit? Right. So to even think about having like, I mean, that's hip to hip, that scar on a tummy tuck. So, I don't think, okay. So I get asked this all the time about the loose skin thing. Like, do the judges care? It's not that they care, but like, if you have skin that's like hanging to the degree that it's, distracting, then, I mean, will it hold you back in the scoring? I mean, it depends on who shows up, and it certainly doesn't mean that you shouldn't prepare for this type of competition. But there are divisions for people that have undergone a weight loss transformation and haven't, had skin removal, and they might still have loose skin or whatever it might be. There are several different federations that do a transformation division. I think like Christian Guzman has like summer shredding, and they have a transformation division, so you can still be involved. But I mean, you can't tuck it into a tiny bikini. There's just nowhere to hide it. So if that is something that you want to do, then, that recovery is quite a bit longer because a lot of times they're doing surgery to the abdominal wall and it just takes time. You definitely don't want to strain yourself by lifting heavy and then causing delayed healing. But I think as long as you've got a great surgeon who does like very good work and you follow all the instructions and don't end up with an infection or any tissue healing post-op, then you should be able to slap on a coat of spray tan and show off your abs and, your fabulous physique.
Yeah. And like you said, I think the amount of loose skin has to, you really have to consider that because, okay, are we just being like overly critical and we have, a little bit of loose skin on our like on our glutes and our stomach area, and it's kind of hangy. Okay, well, like, do you really need to go like to be so critical of yourself that like, oh, I can't step on stage like this? It's like, no,
Right.
like
No,
dial it
yeah.
back. Is it something that maybe like, okay, you step on stage, you have a great time, you get feedback. It wasn't that big a deal at all because nobody knows. Like, you don't know what you're really going to look like until you're under those stage lights with that tan, with that suit. And then also, like, if you practice posing, there's certain ways that you can step, transition, push, pressure, that you can kind of hide a lot of things, right? You can kind of
So
distort a lot
true.
of things.
Yeah, that's such a good
And then
point.
and then is it to the point where you just need to build muscle? Could this be
Yeah,
something that is over time? Is it loose skin right now, and then it could really not be that loose later? You know, so like I feel like there shouldn't be anything to stop you from stepping on stage, right?
exactly.
Especially
Hmm.
like again working backstage at the NPC shows. Like there's always all sorts of awards and recognition, all sorts of stuff for like different transformations, different, achievements, different like health, um, health overcoming health obstacles. And I've seen people that have like different type of like medical devices attached to them and will go on stage and
Yeah.
place
Hmm.
top 5. So like don't be so critical of yourself thinking like this all has to be so perfect. Like it's never going to be. So that's kind of
I
my
totally
thoughts with the
agree.
loose
And I
skin.
think like that kind of goes along, not that we're going to talk about that in this episode, but it goes along kind of like with PEDs and things like that. Like try to do everything you can in a safe and like conservative way before you go to the next level of severity, like
Mhm.
with loose skin. To your point, exactly, like if it's your first competition and you diet down to like the point of being a string bean and you have like a little bit of saggy skin on your bum and on your midsection and you've never been this lean before, guess what, you can grow a butt and fill out that skin, and your skin will actually regain a bit of elasticity if you stay leaner than your former self. Like if you
Jillian, tell our listeners what our next topic is.
butts and butt implants and why we think they're stupid.
Stupid.
I just can't imagine a butt implant, but we'll talk about that. But anyways, and everybody knows. But anyways, yeah. So there's a lot of things that you can do. Like I tell my clients this when they're like a first time competitor and they have never been this shredded in their life. They're like, oh my god, I have loose skin, and I look at it and I'm like, babe, that's gonna iron itself out. Don't even worry. It's like a
Yeah.
tablecloth, right? Like you lay out a tablecloth and it's kind of wrinkly. And then once it lays on the table for a little while, it lays flat. It's like, just something that eventually, if it's
That's a good metaphor.
mild, and you take care of it, you dry brush and you hydrate the shit out of yourself and you stay healthy and you take your fish oils and all the things that you should do, a mild loose skin, you can pose around and you can hope that it springs back. But I'm talking to the degree that there's an overhang and,
Of course,
then
yeah.
yeah, I mean, then if you are been thinking about a tummy tuck anyways, I'm sure you thought about it before competing. You probably thought about it for
Yeah.
going to the beach and even just wearing shorts and leggings. So, but I don't want anyone to be like, I've had a tummy tuck, they're going to be able to see my scar, I can't compete.
Oh
They
yeah, no.
There was a girl at a show one time that had at one point a colostomy bag, and the
Hmm.
scar was like a big scar on her midsection, and it was like to the right side of her midline, so you like really didn't see it unless you saw her head on. She won the overall at that show, and I remember when I saw her backstage, I was like, what happened to her tan? And as I got closer, I could see, and then I saw her story about having overcome Crohn's disease and having had a colostomy and everything. And I'm like, she posed right around it. You had no idea that she even had that scar. So,
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
know,
new competitors listening, the power of posing is magical.
yeah,
Like
work with what
it
you
can
got,
hide.
not what you don't got, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But if you don't got a butt, you
Emphasize.
can't buy one, is what we're also gonna say.
So let's talk about butt implants.
I
So,
know. Ugh,
okay, can we like let me just say the beauty that I love about this sport is that it makes our body like our bodies are canvases. We are artists creating
yes,
something, right? So whatever
building,
yes,
bodybuilding.
whatever division that you choose to be in, wellness, bikini, physique, figure, fitness, we're cultivating and creating a look through the gym, through food, to fit into this category, to fit into the judging criteria, right? So the whole idea is that a quick fix doesn't exist. It can't exist because then the sport wouldn't exist, right? That wouldn't make any sense. So being able to slap a butt magically on your glutes and just saying, "Oh, I have curves," like for one, they're going to show. Like you're going to get super lean. Obviously, you want to get lean in your hamstrings and your glutes and your tie-ins. You want your tie-ins to pop. You want, that profile look. You want all of that, the judges' criteria, right? If you have an implant there, you're going to see it. They're going to see it. They're not going to like it.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Once you lose the amount of body fat that you'll need to be able to show ab definition and toned arms and hamstring development, all of that, it doesn't leave really anything to support that butt implant. So, I mean, it shows. So yeah, that's definitely a no. And I mean, I understand if somebody is, they're frustrated about not building a butt and they don't want to spend the time in the gym and they don't want to hire a coach and eat the food that you need to grow a butt. And they want to do that. That's like, hey, you know what? If anybody wants to do anything, do it. But I'm just saying in the world of like wellness, bikini, figure, any of those sports, like that's just something that is like it's gonna kind of be marked down. So
yeah,
don't get a butt implant thinking that it will help you be competitive. But I've seen like people say like, wow, her glutes are so round. Is that a fake butt? And I'm like, I get it. If you had never seen someone like this before, like, let's say you crawled out from under a rock and you'd been under that rock for like 20 years and you're like, what's a bikini competitor? You would be like, holy moly. Like, I didn't even know women's bodies could look like that. But
yeah,
there's a difference between a fake butt and a real butt.
And I will say this too. I just thought about this. Like, if you want glutes, okay, ladies, like if you're a seasoned competitor, first time competitor, and you're trying to create glutes, and you're not succeeding in creating them, there's a reason. Like, stop believing that what you see on Instagram and TikTok and all of those influencers telling you, hey, I did this 3 workouts and look at my butt. Like,
yes.
No. I will tell you, I love my coach. I love Sam. My coach is Sam Catlin. In 2022, she gave me a weightlifting plan. She knew that I wasn't going to prep until like the very end of the year. Beginning of 2020 or 2023, she gave me a weightlifting plan. She's like, do this. Just lift heavier. Here's just different workouts. Do this. And I did it. I didn't go on Instagram and be like, oh, but look at her butt and she looks so great. So instead of doing what my coach gave me to do, I'm going to go do this. I followed like my weightlifting plan. I did my own dieting, but I followed my weightlifting plan. So it's like, you have to give time and you have to commit and you have to lift weights. Sorry. Yoga is not going to give you.
I got another one too, to add to that tip list.
You'll lose weight doing yoga.
Eat the food. You got to eat the food.
Okay.
So earlier you said that somebody came up to you, a man came up to you at the gym and asked you about your boobs. So I had this like, oh God, I hope he's not listening. He's probably not. He doesn't know who I am. And I usually look like a troll at the gym. So this guy comes up to me at the gym the other day and I'm going to take this as a compliment. But when I told Melissa, who's one of our other coaches here, she's like, you could say that to somebody. It's 2024. I could not believe he said this to you. And I was like, oh, I thought about it. Okay. So here's the conversation. So I'm doing hip thrusts and I'm getting it, like lifting, putting more plates on. I can kind of like feel somebody staring at me and I'm kind of like, what? Get over yourself, Jillian. Like, you're not that cool. And then this guy comes over and he's like, can I ask you a question? And I'm like, sure. Yeah, you totally can. I'm married, but okay.
Right.
And he's like, how do you like get a butt like that? I'm like, what? He's like, because my wife, like, she has an ass like a pancake. And I was like, oh my God. I can't believe you just said that to me. And you're so mean. And I'm like, well, you can see that I'm lifting heavy weights. I'm like, but you got to eat the food. Like, in order to
Yeah.
grow a butt, especially glutes in particular, you got to eat a good amount of calories. And I can say that for myself because that is what I have done. And he's like, oh, that's it right there. He's like, she's in here every day and she's always lifting, but she eats like a bird. I'm like, there it is. And I
Yeah.
think that it took me a long time to realize, like, I'm an older girl. I'm 44. I grew up in like the 90s fitness, where you did
Your
commercial
double
fitness
zero and drink
videos
slim
and
fast.
yeah, and that was like it. I don't even think I looked at my ass until I had done one show, and then I was like, oh, I turned to the back and they looked at my glutes. I never really paid attention. I just wanted abs and that was it. I didn't really think about it. So this like generation of girls that are in their 20s, man, I can see why they look so freaking good because they're growing up with like we're embracing curves and we're like promoting calories and weightlifting.
We're hitting
Girls
our
in the
protein
gym.
goals. Yep.
Yeah, it's like so different. It's so freaking awesome. But like I didn't grow up in that generation, so I get it. Like if you're in your 40s or 50s and you're like thinking that you're going to grow a butt by going to Pilates, I understand why you think that, but I'm here to tell you it's not true. And butt implants
We
are not the
also
way.
Also, before all you yogis and Pilates people come for us,
Don't come
okay?
for us.
We love yoga and Pilates.
We love it.
I
love it.
technically do like a form of yoga every day
I
in
do,
my
yeah.
bedroom. It's just if you want to grow the glutes that are, give you profile glutes, that nice round curvature that are going to hold themselves up in a skirt or in a dress and
That you can
shorts,
bounce
jeans.
a quarter off of.
That you can,
That's what you're getting
like,
at, right?
you gotta eat the food.
You gotta
and
eat, you
lift
gotta
the weights.
lift. But I understand if you don't want that because everyone's idea of beauty is different.
Sure.
And that's wonderful. Like I'm not going to tell somebody what they're doing is wrong, but you also can't say, well, these are the results I like, but I want to try to get them this way. It like doesn't happen. So
Yeah. You
eat
gotta
the food,
feed the
lift the
muscle and
weights.
grow the muscle.
and be patient. You really you can't give it only 6 weeks. And then, like you said earlier, doing those repetitive movements, the ones that work, and not just like you have 50 different exercises that you rotate through every 3 days. Like, that's not going to challenge. You're not going to be able to like build strength and, work on progressive overload if you're just doing a million different fancy exercises.
And I do feel like that's also like having a coach, having a prep buddy, having somebody, because I feel like as females, I know I'm not the only one who does this. I know as females, like we overthink stuff constantly. So if like we're doing a workout for like 5 days and I'm like, is this working? Or am I sure if it's working? Should I try this? It's the same with nutrition. That's why I will never coach myself. Hands down, never gonna happen.
Never. I would never coach myself ever again. Oh my God, no.
Because do I know what I'm doing? Absolutely. Can I do it for somebody else? Can I help and do everything for somebody else? 100%. But if I do it for myself, I will immediately after probably like 2 or 3 days be like,
No, I'm a stark rated lunatic when it comes to my own progress.
No
I never
way.
think it's enough, and I'm second guessing it. That's why I've had a coach consistently since like 2019. Like, I don't want to try to figure this out for myself. I need somebody to be a second set of eyes and to just keep me following through and doing, what I need to do. So, I mean, there's a lot of great information out there, but having accountability is great. And then, having somebody to just take that load off for you so you don't have to figure it out. Again, like we're both
I
coaches.
can't even imagine.
We could coach each other. We could coach other people, but
we could.
I don't know. I don't like coaching friends. It's really hard for me. Like, I'm like, it's not you, it's me. I just want to be friends. But like, it's hard for me because I'm nice and,
It would be difficult. I have friends that I help. I don't coach them.
Yeah.
I have friends that I help, but I do it in a very like, this is actually what I say to all of them. I've said, I'm like, I am here for you 100%. Like, if you want me to help you with whatever you need me to do, come over to my house. I'll help you. Like, help somebody last night. When we go out to eat, when we go out for whatever group setting we're going out for, I am your friend. Like, I don't care what you're eating. I don't care what you're drinking. And they know that at this point, but they also know, like, if they're constantly coming for me for help, they'll, I don't want them to feel like, oh, well, she's going to get upset with me. I was like, no, man, like, just chill. Like, we're friends. We're friends.
I know. I always hate that people who know that I do fitness and like that I'm a coach and, I compete and whatnot. Like, I hate that they feel like they have to be like, it's my cheat day today. If they're like eating a cookie or something, I'm like, I honestly didn't notice. And I notice now, but I didn't
I
notice
always say
before.
go you. I'm like, yeah, it looks
me
good.
too, babe. cheers, I'll eat a cookie too. You know, I
I
just,
know. I'll say, I'm like, oh, that drink looks good, or oh, that like, I'll always like comment on something. Like I
yeah.
have like several Galentine things like I'm going to with some
Oh
girlfriends, and it's
yeah.
like, and we're
Galentine's.
all, yeah, and we're all eating out. We're all go do stuff, and they know I won't, but I'll just sit there and be like, it smells good, it looks good, like that's awesome. Like
Yeah.
I don't know, it's just so like normal.
Yeah.
Well, Jillian, we're almost at an hour. It's so easy.
I know.
It just flies by.
I know. And we could probably film a podcast every day because we talk at some point every day for like an hour
We talk on
anyways.
so many like caveats too.
I know.
Like we'll text, we'll email, we'll talk on Instagram,
DMs. I know.
DMs.
Where did we have
Like you
that
slid.
conversation? I know.
Yes, I've done that before. Like my eye keeps watering. I've done that before where I've been trying to like reference something that you and I are talking about, and I'll be like,
Where
where
did we
did it
talk?
go?
I know that happened to me today actually because I was telling someone that I'd sent you all my suit options. And then I was
Yeah,
like, where did I send those to her? Like I couldn't remember where I had sent you the pictures of
you
the
text.
suits. But anyways, which I mean,
But yeah,
I love suit selection. I'm excited. We'll talk about
yeah,
that in another episode. But anywho,
but
thank you everybody for tuning into this girl talk. I hope that
yeah,
you enjoyed all of our information and like ask away if you have more questions. Like you can private message either of us. Our socials are linked below. We're open books. We love to share and give
yeah,
advice that might help you with, you know, your journey. And definitely subscribe, follow.
yes,
And thank you
yeah,
again for all of your support and for listening in today.
yeah. Bye, guys.
Bye.